Welcome, Nocturno Culto to Metallarium Pages. It's a great pleasure. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Darkthrone, the last album, and more things related to the metal world. And starting with a question: how have you been during these crazy times? First, we start a pandemic, now a war in Europe. For that, who knows what happened next couple years? Alien invasion, a meteor will hit us, and Americans save us, as usually in the Hollywood movies, or perhaps Darkthrone's plays again live. Who knows?
I don't pay much attention to anything. I live a very quiet life, and I understand there's been a lot of things going on, but uh, I think it's difficult for me to grasp. So I just stay away and living my own life as long as it's okay. But I think it's going to be okay. So, but until then, I will be focusing on not worrying too much. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, talking about especially from the aspects of that, why do you think metal fans over 40 years old are always going back in time when it comes to the musical text? I mean, so it is obvious that all our jewels were published in those times, but for many fans, all Darkroom albums cannot be surprised. No? So that's a common thing. So, what
Yeah.
moves you to continue making music, especially with this new album, knowing that there are many fans that we resist new bands and new releases?
Well, it's always been like this that we Darkthrone is not a very nostalgic band. At least, I mean, we are both very interested in music, and I think once in a while we change. I mean, we have had the ability to make 20 albums since the beginning, and that's very much to do with that we don't play concerts. Because if we were a live band, we would have no time to be creative in this as we are now, and has always been. But I understand we probably we do things a bit different than you know. At least that's what we feel, like outsiders, basically. But I'm not sure if we are. But we don't have any contact with anyone, so yeah. I don't know what to say, but the music is always the most important thing for us, and I think we don't want to waste time on live playing, so we do the things that we know we can do best, and yeah, we'll see when we eventually quit, then we can start summarizing, because it's always been like that. After a new album is released, we usually are into the next album already, and it's been like that for all these years. Even on that Blaze, I remember, and Soul's a Journey. Also, we we're always looking forward to the next thing we are going to do. So yeah, that's how time flies by.
Mm.
Like
Well,
35
yeah.
years or something.
Yeah. Well, Darkthrone has been characterized as a band that has been changing its styles through all your albums. So at certain times being more complicated to digest, no, than in the others where they are direct blows. So it happens in your whole discography. So
Yeah.
when you make music with Darkthrone, do you ever think about doing something special? I mean, so complicated sometimes or increasingly challenges for the listeners. Does this have any value when it comes to composing, or perhaps do you think Darkroom's music has other ingredients, which will be?
Well, usually everything is quite a coincidence, but sometimes during all these years we have been discussing not a particularly direction in the music necessarily, but we it's like after the underground resistance. After that album, we had a talk about we didn't believe we could do that kind of style any better. So we agreed on going into a bit more easy structures of the song, a bit not so floating structures as we had earlier, but going into a bit stricter arrangements of the songs. So that didn't mean we talked about how the music was going to be, but it's like a direction of how to make the music. And then you of course get new ideas. And the thing is that there's always been some change. And I heard one person said that some believe that we kind of changing a bit after 2 albums. And I was thinking about it, and I thought, yeah, well, that's not very far off the point, because but this is the thing. I mean, we for us it will be very kind of boring to just do the same things all over again many times. We have to do things that we think is okay. um there's probably not going to be any Under Fuel Moon 2. But we always have to look forward and do the things we do. I mean, I don't even know if you're playing black metal anymore. I mean, people can call it whatever they want, but at least we're playing metal. That's all I know.
Okay. So, in the past, Fenris released a phrase from the moment in which Peaceable was forced to edit A Blaze in the Northern Sky in 1992, saying Darkthrone is how the sound of black metal should be. So, today, we are in 2022. That phrase is still valid for you, and for that, and looking back, can you conceive of the black metal scene without the participation of Darkthrone? What values does it have for you in your more than 30 years of career?
What was the line you were saying again?
So, the line is Darkthrone is how the sound of black metal should be.
Yeah, well, yeah, well, at least we I think sound is very important, because when it's always been very important for us with the sound. It's important to understand that the modern day era have become very can be a bit boring, but you have to go to the underground, metal underground, to find the interesting things. I mean, so but I think in general, people should take more chances when they record. um, I think so, but the sound of black metal, I don't know what that is really. In the early days, I would also say that Don't Break the Oath with Merciful Fate is the sound of black metal. But we all have different perspective on that thing. Yeah, you had a long question there. I can't remember what it was, but yeah.
Okay, okay, well, don't worry, don't worry. So, I have read about some great records that you have in your collection. So, have you ever wondered what would happen to the physical material that you have accumulated over the time? I mean, so when do you have plans any related to this? Do you have any plans for when you leave this side of life? To
Uh, Not really. The thing is that this has been going on for so long that we it's hard to know any other life. Okay, we are kind of private persons, and we living our life on daily basis. But the thing is that since we're like 15, 16 years old, we've been playing in the same band, and it has become some sort of a life project. And but I think we are a very self-aware when it comes to what we're doing, and I think we are just going to keep continue as long as we know we can offer something. So yeah, this I've been living a lot more years with the Darkthrone than without, of course, and it's difficult to imagine that gone. You know, it's a very weird thing to think about. So, but eventually it will happen, of course, but not right now. We are going into studio in April again, so to record another album in April. So we'll see then. What will become out of that? We don't know, but yeah.
Mm. Okay. So related to the previous question, do you still have that same hunger to get a record that you always wanted, or perhaps that is no longer important for you? So within the passion that made metal awakens for the
Yeah,
people.
well,
Who knows?
yeah, well, the passion is obviously there, but as we like to say, it's a half joke, half truth. But uh, when we recorded Souls Our Journey, that was probably the album we most wanted to do, I guess, and because we had ambitions, okay. But after Souls Our Journey, we didn't really have any ambitions left. But that's as I said, it's a half joke, half true. But it's definitely a passion. I think it's the passion that drives us to do this, and it's also, without any question, it is a way to kind of empty your head or something. I think Dark Souls probably is keeping us kind of sane in a
Mm.
way. Yeah.
Okay, a few seconds ago, you said that you will enter to in April 2023 to record a new album. So, oh, and usually making a record is not a simple thing, especially when you do it in your own studio and you are in charge of everything. It
Yeah.
would seem that there's no time to lead the normal life because a number of albums that Darkthrone has released over the years. For this reason, have you ever wished that the fact that you could only dedicate yourself to making music a living from it was a reality? Haven't you felt at some point that in order that not to be only thing that you do in your days and end up the most important thing, even more than your family or your daily work?
Mm. Yeah. Well, yeah. Um, the we are constantly in some kind of a creative mode, parallel to living our daily lives, because you always think about the band. We have always some decisions to make. We are always some music to make. So, but for some reason, we managed you know, to focus on several things at the same time. Believe it or not. So this, yeah, we constantly, you know, it's difficult to explain, but it's, I think it's it has been some tough years with when we record. We used to record everything ourselves, from 2005 to from the Culto is Alive album and up until Old Star. We recorded everything ourselves, and it was a lot of hassle. it's very stressful because we don't give ourselves much time to record, so everything has to work. Uh, but yeah, it's so now when we are in another studio, it's very much more easy because when we come to the studio, we are only musicians basically, and you know, in a professional studio. So it's a bit more, but the first years when we had a studio from 2005 and up until Old Star, it was very, very chaotic, stressful studio sessions, and of course it took a lot of time to time and effort to record those albums, definitely.
Okay, Fenris once said that the perfect duration for an album is 40 minutes. So,
Yeah,
do you share that opinion? I mean, because what happens with some productions that are even double albums, considering that the many bands from the 70s have every
mm.
very long and complicated albums or
Yeah,
songs? And also, I have read that you are a fan of Yes, for example. So,
yeah.
how do you control the duration of the songs or the album in Darkthrone? Is it a limitation, or do you consider as a future of Darkthrone?
I think album length is some kind of a limitation because we like to limit ourselves to around 40 minutes. Um, uh, so what happened is that we make songs, and when you start making songs, you don't know how long the songs will be. Okay, so if one song is 10 minutes and another one is 9 minutes, then we're starting to run out of time. Okay, but I think um, so 40 minutes is some kind of a gold standard, I would say, because you can say that if I come home with a new record, I want it to be around 40 minutes, okay? Because I like to joke about this as well, but you have to, when you put on a record and drink beer, you shouldn't pause the record to have a piss, okay?
Mhm.
Because if the album is 1 hour and you sit and drinking, you have to go to the bathroom. And I think that's 40 minutes is cool. And I think a recent very good example of that um, is the new the Cult album, Under the Midnight Sun. It's a rock album, okay, and those guys haven't released albums in years, and then they just release 8 songs, and the album is 35 minutes long, and the sound is spot on. And I think that's respect, because uh, I don't see the point of filling out 50 minutes just to. I don't know the point of that. Okay, if you have a grand vision, like okay, for example, Yes, or some of the older prog rock bands, it was a different time. And of course, if we released a double album, it will be for a purpose, because then we have a more of a huge visions about that album. Okay, because when you release a double album, you really should not only just have a lot of material, but the material should fit a purpose. Otherwise, it's boring. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, as a composer and being part of some other bands as a session member, have you had the need to express yourself in other musical ways, like many other Norwegian musicians who have instrumental projects, even electronic ones? And perhaps, do you keep any files of the songs that you have not been left or part of the disc in the Darkthrone, or perhaps in God Gift of the Gods or Sarke? Perhaps you have other approach of the music, not just rock or metal?
Mm. Yeah, well, there's I have interest other than this as well in music, but that's more because I'm more into folk music, stuff like that. I guess I will not be in any position to perform that kind of music because I don't have the time for it. But usually, when I'm off to out in the wilds, I usually have a small instruments with me, like historical instruments to play by myself. You know, that's it. But yeah, um, I don't know.
Mm. Okay, okay. Nice to hear that. So, in many interviews, I have seen that you and Fenris use the term proto metal. So, specifically, what this term refer to? Why do you consider that punk is decisive in a final result within metal? Because for many people, it was shocking the leap they took, or when you took the our singles in your music in Too Old, Too Cold 2006, or the album Fuck Off and Die in 2007. Did you ever care about the opinions of the press, of the fans, talking about, especially with the proto metal comments, the change of the music, etc.?
No, not really. The thing is that we don't really care much. we we are a non-caring band, and I think part of what we think is really a very good thing of Darkthrone is that we uh, we have a feeling of freedom. Okay, we do what we want, and if we couldn't do what we want, what's the point? And we have no one to please, specifically, and I think also people are starting to get used to the idea that you never know what we are going to release. It's not like because you never know. I mean, Eternal Hails. I mean, Astral Fortress was supposed to be in our minds. Astral Fortress was going to be like a twin brother to Eternal Hails, but it turned out it wasn't in many ways
Mhm.
because Astral Fortress is a much more slower album, and it's probably our slowest album, and also probably our most melodic album in some sort of way. And but that's the good thing about this about being in Darkroom, the feeling of freedom. Nobody interferes with the band's visions in any way, and I like that. And that's why we also can release an album cover like Astral Fortress, because no other band would get away with it, but we can get away with it. Okay,
Mm.
because
Oh,
people only want to have the demon heads and
yeah.
crosses and stuff like that. But as I told you, we don't really care. we we
Yeah, well,
uh, we have no one to answer to, basically. So that's a good feeling.
yes, but nice to hear that. So, talking about a lot of history here, what has happened during this time? So, what that we can be talking right now with you? I mean, what has changed in your way of thinking for Darkroom now promotes and gives interviews by videos, audio, this kind of stuff? Because in the past you didn't. So, under
No.
these thoughts, perhaps in the future the gigs can be turned around, as I said, like a joke in the first question. So, is
Yeah.
there a remote any possibilities for that come true? Now the videos is now the videos is possibly perhaps a future gig and special gig with Dartron. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I don't think so, but the opportunities are there, definitely, and we also keep getting people give us ideas about that, but it's very difficult. It shouldn't be very difficult for us to do something like that. But the thing is that we need to have time for it, and it has to be planned. And we are not very good at planning. The only thing we plan is studio time, and except for that, we just yeah. Uh, but I don't think I, you know, to do concerts. I think to be on the stage is definitely out. We are not in that kind of entertainment business. Um, we just you know we are not that kind of. It's not in our interest field of interest. But to do, as you said, with the video and stuff, we can put up and making a show, of course, on camera. But I don't think it's very possible that will happen. But I like to say you never know because you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I have read many interviews from his early days, the golden days of his first three black metal albums, and Fenrir's responses were oriented towards anti-Christianity and worship of the dark. So does that part still live inside of you of both? Because all thought they were not the times the right lyrics on your behalf, but how you feel about all that? Would you say that the same dark flame continues today, but in more evolved form or way?
Yeah, it is, but as I said, the band has been changing a lot over the years. Not really that much. I mean, if you think about it, we have always been a band that mixing genres all the time, and we even did that on A Blaze in Northern Sky. It was a mixed genre album. But because of the sound and because of the way it looked, it was very much black metal. But the music was a mixed genre, and we still are today. But some of our albums have been more pure, like Under Full Moon and things like that. But there was a bit of noise back there, so I couldn't understand all of the question. But if you
Yeah, like repeat.
what?
O sea, la repeat. If you continue with the bueno with this darkness around like the
Yeah.
first days now, no, that's the
Yeah, well, we haven't changed that much in our attitude, basically. But I would say it's the flame has uh, the flame is still the same, but it has kind of went in another. It's a different flame. It's a different flame, but the flame is there, and of course all the. It's important to have the darkness because I don't believe people that you know are always happy.
okay.
I don't
Oh, okay.
trust them. I don't trust
Okay.
them
Oh,
because it's important to get to know the darkness and it's still like that. But you remember when we recorded Ablaze, we were kind of 19 years old, and when you're that young, everything is very 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 important to you. Okay,
mm.
yeah. You know how the young people are. It's all or nothing, and that was the same thing with us. Um, but now we're in our 50s, so of course times are changing slowly.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. So finally, what do you think of young people who have seen a documentary and adopt the attitudes that perhaps you had when you're young, more savage, more rebel, this kind of stuff. But at that time, it was original. So,
Yeah.
what do you think of the importance that the media, especially the social media in general, or the social, the social managers, have given to this type of expression?
What kind of expression?
The anti-Christianity stuff,
Oh
because a
yeah,
lot of the commenters talking about this.
yeah. Well, again, I have to disappoint you because I have no clue at all what's going on any social media or any newspaper or anything. I'm just I kind of cut myself off from everything. I have no idea, but I what I do know is that people tend to have very strong opinions, and then especially on social media, I guess their opinions. Opinions are always flying, and when you're in a band, you will always get some hate, but you will always get some love as well. It's difficult. If we were to please everybody, that would be. It's not going to happen, and I think also people that are very into the to the earlier years of Darkthrone is probably maybe they don't like our newer albums, but that's okay. I mean, don't listen to it. I mean, there's other people that wants to hear them, and it's the opinions are everywhere, and so the social media thing, it's not what we're doing. So if I mean, not me or not Fenris, none of us are on social media. So I know there are some fake accounts out there, but and that's just a perfect example on how sad the humanity has become. It's really really sad.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So talking about in general the black metal now. So when I listen for the first time the first bands from the 80s, the black metal like Battery, when then well, the first wave of black metal in Norway, they always talk about the culture, well, this the culture stuff, society, and other or philosophy. And
Yeah.
one word that came my attraction in all general is the misanthropic aspects, because
Yeah.
a lot of bands in the world, especially in black metal, talking about the misanthropic. They're also misanthropic for there, etc., etc. And
Yeah.
now they mix with a lot of Satan stuff. It's a different thing. So,
Yeah.
what's your opinion about the misanthropic concept? Are more related to these times, a pandemic, because we have a lot of isolations for 2 years, lockdowns for 2 years, these kinds of the misanthropic war are more common now than the old days.
Yeah, well, that's shocking news. Yeah, probably. But I think you can't really talk about misanthropic stuff and then go play live. Uh, it's the true meaning of misanthropic is like, okay. Well, I like to distance myself from most of humanity. I don't care, and I'm not interested, because if I was really interested in this kind of stuff, I would be a politician, and I'm glad I'm not. I just really trying to live my own life, you know, and don't I don't see much out in the world, or what people's opinions, or um, but I know misanthropic is a very probably a very popular word. I even used that on my film. I made a movie some years ago, almost 20 years ago. I started on it. But that was called the Misanthrope, and I think that the film also kind of describes my misanthropic mind somehow. Um, I think I understand that this is difficult times for many people, and that kind of sucks. But I can't do anything about it. I just keep to myself, and that's how it's going to be. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking shit
No, no,
all
for
the
sure.
time. I'm just talking and talking. Doesn't matter. It's like maybe 50% of what I'm saying is bullshit. I don't know, and you don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, depends on the point of view. So, well. Um, well, talking about when we are related with now, as you told me that you are very away from the social media, from the news in general of the world, but it's impossible to know that the artificial intelligence is now present in our lives because we are now talking. You are Norway, I'm here in Peru, and we are talking about from the artificial intelligence. That's the way that it is now the world. Is it? So what's your opinion about the internet, the artificial intelligence now presence in the arts in general? Because perhaps you hear about the one technology are created to create art, just put describing words, this kind of stuff. So
I I think you know the people of the world are actually the ones in charge, but we just don't know it. I mean, if everybody lay down their production at the same time, nothing would. I don't know what I'm talking. I'm talking shit again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's very difficult to. Yeah, but I don't know. It's technology. Of course, technology has taken us. I like to see the. It depends on my mood, but sometimes I think humanity is going um, two step forwards and one backwards. But if I'm in a not so good mood, I think it's go two step backwards and one forward. I don't know.
mm,
It's all. I just try not to relate and try not to get. The technology is very confusing and it's very. I don't know. We are very vulnerable with all this shit. So and one day we are going to learn the hard way.
yeah,
That's for
yeah,
sure.
that is true. That's true. That is
That
true.
is true. Yeah,
That's so
and
so true.
everybody knows it's going to happen, but we don't know.
We don't know when.
It's
Yeah.
yeah because people don't really want to write things down on paper anymore, and it's just for me it's really stupid. But okay, but I guess I'm too old fashioned. I guess yeah.
Mhm. Great, great. Well, Nocturno Culto, it was a great pleasure to talk with you about many
I
things.
hope so. I hope so because I told you it's. I'm not a very good interview object necessarily. So yeah, I hope you got something out of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, perhaps, well, talking about this, perhaps someday you will come. You will come as a tourist here to Latin America to know more countries, to know more culture, to know us in person. Who knows? And share some
Yeah,
beers. Will be
absolutely. And
great.
I'm, thing is that usually when I go to different countries, I want to, experience history, folk music, the traditions and stuff like that. I'm kind of old school that way. I don't care much about the big city. But yeah,
Hmm.
that's the thing. So
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah. But maybe someday I will bore you once again with my incoherent long answers.
Yeah. Well, okay. Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, but
Okay.
that's nice. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, nice, nice, nice to hear. Nice to know. So, perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans that some they expect that Latin tour from Darkthrone? That's impossible at this point, but
Yeah.
who knows?
I know. All I want to say is that we appreciate you guys and girls because um, we don't take it for granted that people understand what we're doing. So to everyone who understands what we're doing, thank you, and we're just glad to have you on board. And I wish you all the absolutely best. Okay.